Hello and welcome to Mr. Orth's Flipped Classroom for Grammar. For those unfamiliar with that term, a flipped classroom is designed so that students receive the instruction and content outside of the classroom. And when they are in the classroom, that's when they complete the practice and clarify their understandings with the teacher present to help them refine what they do and don't understand. As you watch these videos and listen to them, you're encouraged to take notes. Don't focus necessarily on simply copying down everything you see and trying to write everything you hear. Find your own method as you do these different lessons in upcoming days and weeks that works for you. For example, some students prefer to actually listen to the whole thing and watch it once, and then go back through and start writing things down. Others might prefer to turn off the sound and simply watch the slides and write down notes, and then, after they've written that down, go back and listen to it with the sound on and see what additional commentary and notes might be worth recording. Either way, let's begin. Our learning targets. These are defined so that students have an idea of what they're trying to accomplish with each particular lesson. For this lesson, the learning targets are that I can define complete subject and complete predicate, and I can identify complete subjects and complete predicates in sentences. Below the learning targets oftentimes will be the actual Minnesota Common Core standards as relates to this content. Our definitions. First, the word sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. The complete subject is the simple subject in all words that modify or describe it. The complete predicate is the verb or verb phrase in all words that modify or describe that. How do we find these? First, and you'll see this over and over again in these videos, I recommend always finding the verb first. The reason being that verbs are required in every sentence, or it's not a sentence. There are times where you might not be sure the subject is, and yet your gut tells you that it's going to be a sentence. Start by finding the verb first. In this case, the statement is always find the verb, all parts of it. Because you find one, it doesn't mean you're done. A lesson that can apply not just to grammar, but to life. Because you find one doesn't mean you're done. I recommend when you're writing examples to actually circle the verb because it stands out more than underlining or labeling. Second step, typically since the subject usually precedes or comes before the verb, once you find the verb or verb phrase, then all the words before the verb should be the complete subject. Notice I said typically, not universally, but it's a place to start. Do be mindful to watch out for interjections. These are interrupting words such as yes, no, okay, well, or prepositional phrases, words that show direction or relationship such as to him, for her, with my friends, at home, with commas after them. These are not going to be considered part of the subject, either the complete or the simple. Again, if they start the sentence followed by a comma, they are not a part of the subject or the verb for our purposes. Our first example. The neighbors signed the petition. First, look at the sentence and we have to ask the question, what is the verb? The verb is signed. If you're marking that on your own, you would actually go ahead and circle the word signed. Then we ask the question, who or what signed the petition? So the neighbors, that's a complete subject. Neighbors is a simple subject, but the whole thing, what's the whole answer to who signed? The neighbors. That's our complete subject. Again, the complete predicate is going to be the verb and the words that go with it. So signed. Signed what? Signed the petition. Those two parts, those two phrases together are the entire sentence. So the neighbors, complete subject, signed the petition, complete predicate. Next example. All right, the first book in the series is better than the rest. What's the verb? The verb in this sentence is. So we need a question, who or what is, to find the subject. The first book in the series, that's the whole answer. Next lesson we'll talk about complete subjects and how they compare to simple subjects. We know the verb is, so that needs to start our complete predicate. Is what? Is better than the rest. That's our complete predicate. So we're left with the word all right, which is followed by a comma. What do we do with that? Well, it's an interjection. Not much different than okay, yes, well, words we don't need in a sentence that are thrown in there for style or voice. For our purposes, though, it's not considered part of the subject nor the predicate. The practice for this particular lesson can be found on the packet that you provided by your teacher. and you'll complete it during the next class session. If you need to, watch this video again and write down any notes that you find helpful. If things are unclear, put a question mark or other note in your notes so that you can ask your teacher about those, perhaps before you even begin the practice. And since I don't believe in luck, I won't wish you that, so I'll say my customary, good hunting.